work assemble custom computers from components supplied by various manufacturers. The company is very small and its assembly shop and retail sales stores are housed in a single facility in a Redmond, Washington Industrial Park. Listed below are some of the costs that are incurred at the company. So we are required to classify whether this is direct labor, direct material, manufacturing overhead, selling, and administrative cost. So let's talk about our first bullet point, that is the cost of hard drive installed in a computer. So first find out that whether in the cost of computer can you easily trace out the cost of hard drive. If your answer is yes, then you are in good shape because this belongs to direct my bad this belongs to direct material. The cost of advertising. So the cost of advertising in Puget Sound computer, it's a newspaper, and that cost is necessary to support the order, and we call this is selling cost. Okay, the third one is the wages of employees who assemble computers from components. So ask yourself whether we can easily trace out this cost or not. So in assembly line, if an employee is producing or assembling 10 computers, so can you find out that how much is the time that a worker is used to take or used to assemble one computer? Or you can the otherwise you can just do that. If he's producing in 1 hour 10 computers, so it's 1 hour salary divided by 10. It means that part of its wage will go to the cost of labor that is assembled to that computer. So in that case it is easily traceable, so we call this is direct labor. The fourth one is sales commission paid to the company's sales people, cost necessary to support the order, we call this selling cost. The fifth one is the wages of assembly shop supervisor. So this belongs to manufacturing overhead because it is not easily traceable cost. Why? Because we don't know that the supervisor put how much time or which computer the supervisor supervises the most or the least. So it is hard to find out the cost of supervisor on the product. So we call this manufacturing overhead, and under manufacturing overhead it belongs to indirect labor. The sixth one is the wages of the company's accountant. Since these are the costs associated to the executives, we call this admin. Administrative cost. The seventh one is depreciation of equipment used to test assembled computers before release to customers. Also this cost is hard to trace, and also these are non-cash expenses. Plus if you already go through the financial accounting, then you know that there are some methods to calculate the depreciation which involves some kind of judgment as well. So we call this belongs to manufacturing overhead. The last one is rent on the facility in industrial park. Since we know that this factory is basically a single facility in an industrial park, so in that case we can categorize the rent into three parts. So that part of the facility that belongs to sales, so that part of the rent will go to selling activity or selling cost category under non-manufacturing cost, and that part of the factory that belongs to executive, where the accountant sit, the CEO sit. So that basically rent portion we call that is administrative, and that part of the rent which belongs to assembly, that will go to manufacturing overhead, right? So I hope you understand the question. If you still have the some ambiguity left, you can just post it in our Blackboard discussion, and you can also write us in our WeChat group, which is Managerial Accounting CIP 2020. Okay, besides the manufacturing cost and non-manufacturing cost, there are two more cost categories that are often used in discussion of manufacturing cost. One is prime cost, one is conversion cost. The prime cost is the sum of direct material and direct labor, whereas the conversion cost is the sum of direct labor and manufacturing overhead. So the term conversion cost here is used to describe direct labor and manufacturing overhead because these costs are incurred to convert material into finished good. So what are the uses of these cost categories, prime cost and conversion cost? So the term prime cost is mostly used in those firms that are manufacturing firms because their large chunk of the cost belongs to direct material and they convert the direct material into finished goods. So, and they have direct labor, huge direct labor and direct material cost. For example, steel company. So most part of their product cost is prime cost and their manufacturing overhead may be small relative to their direct material and direct labor. Those companies who are service oriented like Microsoft, software houses, so their conversion cost is the highest in manufacturing cost because they don't have much of the raw material. So their most part is basically salaries paid to the programmers and rent and electricity and etc. Okay, that's all from our learning objective 1, which is understanding the classification of cost based on like manufacturing cost and non-manufacturing cost, and the other classification of manufacturing cost, which is prime cost and conversion cost.